Richie come out and went to the first cockatoo and said, "Once upon a time, there was a prince and a princess. Blank, blank." And when that said blank, blank, go to full shot now. When it said blank, blank, this next one went blank, blank, and 40 cockatoos went blank, 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 blank. And Richie went insane with the pointer and started killing the bird. Wham, 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 blood, feather, blank, 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 blank.
When we talk about the most charming storyteller in the Tonight Show history, it absolutely has to be Buddy Hackett. With no cheap tricks, just casual, everyday stories, and incredibly sharp punchlines, he created a priceless comedy legacy. Sit back, relax, and let's jump right into the absolute best moments of this television legend. 1. A crazy confession destroys the late-night television script. The late-night chemistry between Buddy Hackett and Johnny Carson always created pure television magic. An initial playful exaggeration perfectly demonstrates this exact unique phenomenon.
You go up, you go down.
Well, there's a lot of guys fatter than me, but there's a lot of guys skinny than me. And, I still jog 4 or 5 miles every day.
Do you really?
This boastful athletic claim immediately invites natural suspicion. His subsequent confession exposes an incredibly brilliant and beautifully lazy modern mindset.
Well, no, actually, I have a tape of when I was 19.
You run the tape?
I look at the tape, then put the towel, sweat it.
That unapologetic laziness charms the entire studio audience. A sudden medical scenario then triggers an absolute explosion of pure classic comedy.
Guy said, "Look, I'm a chiropractor." He says, "Get away from me, give me a Scott." He says, it won't hurt you. He says, "Well, what the hell?"
This overly enthusiastic assistance creates an absolute disaster. The visual climax flawlessly showcases the absolute pinnacle of classic physical comedy performance.
The guy, "Oh my, 20 years! Oh God, give me a drink!"
His expressive performance remains a priceless television legacy. This pure vintage comedy style simply never loses its immense entertainment value. 2. Buddy's old farmer completely tricks the entire studio. Buddy's animal jokes always bring pure joy to the studio. This first story perfectly captures his classic and charming storytelling style.
Well, perhaps you have a guest. Maybe Ed comes over and likes a drumstick. Gee, I never thought of that.
A logical question sets up a very serious expectation. However, the farmer's deeply honest answer delivers a wonderfully silly surprise.
"How do they taste?" He says, "We don't know. We never caught one."
That innocent humor easily warms everyone's heart. Next, a rural dispute introduces a truly legendary moment of comedic timing.
"Well, how do you settle it country style?" He says, "How? I kick you in the groin." The guy said, "Oh."
This painful country rule creates a nervously funny tension. After a long wait, the clever old farmer drops an absolutely brilliant trick.
And he says to the farmer, well, I guess it's my turn." And the farmer says, "You could have the duck."
Buddy Hackett simply owns the entire room. This warm, old-school storytelling proves that genuine humor never needs to be complicated. 3. Buddy's bricklayer story completely destroys all deep philosophies. Buddy's travel stories and everyday observations always steal the show. This first philosophical joke completely catches everyone off guard.
They go on to another guy, he's laying like this. "What are you making?" He says, "What am I making? I'm making a church, a place of worship where anyone can come and worship as they want, a place of freedom and..."
A beautiful poetic answer builds an incredibly inspiring atmosphere. However, the unexpected reality check instantly shatters that profound illusion.
And they had to fire him because he's supposed to be making a garage.
That abrupt ending easily leaves the audience in absolute stitches. Next, a wild overseas vacation memory goes horribly wrong.
I figure you get in the elevator, you go up to the 5th floor, the door opens, you jump in the water, right? I'm naked, he's crying. The door opened, I stepped out.
A brilliant, mischievous plan promises a truly hilarious entrance. Unfortunately, a sudden malfunction creates a deeply embarrassing public display.
I'm in the lobby. It didn't go up. And there's a couple hundred Japanese.
His vivid facial expressions perfectly sell the complete panic. Finally, an aggressive sports challenge introduces a painful wardrobe issue.
So they dressed me in a sumo outfit, which is a little silk cloth, covers your hair, and a silk band around the waist. Then a thick cord, hard fibrous rope between your legs and up in the back.
This highly detailed clothing description makes everyone deeply uncomfortable. The final physical sensation fully explains a warrior's intense, legendary anger.
And the ride-up, and when they tighten that rope, you fight anybody. I mean...
Buddy seamlessly transforms simple physical pain into comedic gold. This timeless storytelling magic beautifully defines classic American late-night entertainment. 4. Buddy's Pervert receives an incredibly bizarre final ending. Buddy's brutally honest life stories never fail to entertain. This first, deeply personal confession totally proves his unmatched comedic bravery.
Didn't you once say, if I remember we talked about it, your first... Well, how can I put this delicately?
My first sexual experience.
That's right, that's what I... Happened in the mountains?
I was 22 years old.
Oh, come on.
That's right.
That's...
I was 22 years old. I'd already been through the war and everything.
Were you that naive, or you just...
No, I was scared.
Scared?
Johnny probes into a very personal late bloomer rumor. The subsequent blunt explanation reveals a painfully hilarious historical survival reality.
Yeah, don't forget there was no penicillin in those days or nothing like that. If you had a sexual disease, you died.
Well, I didn't know that.
That's it, guys. What a great...
That brutal honesty perfectly captures his legendary charm. Next, a dangerous street encounter sets up a truly classic vintage joke.
You hear about the woman on Fairfax? Fairfax, you know, is a Jewish neighborhood out here. And the woman on Fairfax is walking along, and there's a flasher with a raincoat.
Right.
And he walks in
This
front of her.
threatening public encounter builds extremely serious suspense. However, the elderly woman's unexpected response brutally destroys all common logical fear.
And she said, "What a lousy lining."
Buddy brilliantly turns everyday situations into pure comedy gold. His natural streetwise humor easily explains his massive legacy in television. 5. Buddy's true golf reason destroys all elegant illusions. Buddy's rebellious attitude against strict network rules always delivers pure entertainment. This first sports story perfectly sets his unapologetic and highly vintage tone.
He was the one who used to talk with first Southern
like that,
accent.
right.
Yes, he used to say. I once said to him, "Is golf better than booze and broads?" And he looked at me and says, "Well, young fella, I've been playing golf, man and boy, for 34 years."
This genuine, innocent question seeks profound professional sports wisdom. However, the legendary golfer's brutally honest answer violently shatters all classy illusions.
To get money for booze and broads.
That shameless honesty effortlessly charms the entire room. Next, a fierce complaint about television censorship brilliantly introduces a classic old-school setup.
And it gets to an island, and the guy says, "Sir, I know you're blind. Is that your seeing eye dog?" "Yes." "That dog nearly got you killed. That dog nearly got you destroyed. That dog, you just were lucky." He says, "Really?" He says, "Yes." He reached in his pocket, he took out a cookie. He said, "The dog nearly killed you. You're going to give him a cookie?" He said, "I just want to find his head."
This ridiculous network restriction completely ruins his natural storytelling rhythm. His incredibly frustrated delivery creates a chaotic television moment.
"So I can kick him in the buttocks."
It loses...
That dog
No, it
nearly
loses.
got him killed. He should have kicked him in his...
Buddy wonderfully transforms his real frustration into comedic gold. Finally, a romantic outdoor adventure seamlessly brings back That same silly vocabulary.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Okay.
All right.
A man takes a lady into an old colonial cemetery
Does he now?
to perform an act of love
Good, good.
on the old flat tombstone. And therein, they do perform an act of love, indeed. The next day, she complained of a backache.
Backache.
Pain.
Pain in the back.
He took her to the orthopod, the doctor, who said to her, "Would you disrobe?" And she disrobed. He said, "Would you turn around?" She turned around. He said, "How old are you?"
This naughty romantic scenario slowly builds incredibly mysterious tension. The doctor's shocking physical discovery delivers an absolutely brilliant callback joke.
She said, 28. Why? He says, "It says on your buttocks you died in 1784. It says on your buttocks.
It's still.
His masterful ability to recycle jokes proves his sheer genius. This incredible unscripted performance truly defines a legendary American entertainment era. 6. Buddy's graveyard property creates massive studio laughter. Buddy's vintage backstage stories always bring pure joy. This first family food joke perfectly captures that warm, old-school nostalgia.
Your mother used to make something. It's because of the system.
My mother made a dish, cholent. You know what cholent is? Cholent, you get cheap cuts of meat, see? And you could use expensive meat, too.
Yeah.
But if you got good meat, you don't have to make cholent out of it. You could eat it regular. Cheap cuts of meat with brusfat. You know what that is? Suet.
Suet.
Yeah. Your folks call it suet.
Suet.
Brusfat with cheap meat with chickpeas, garbanzo beans. Or we call them arbus or nahit and geflochten bogus.
Yes, sir.
You thought that was blank blank.
Yeah.
It ain't. That's mashed potatoes.
Okay.
But you put potatoes in there, not geflochten, just bulbous. You cut up the potatoes and put them in there.
This heavy traditional recipe sounds like a massive stomach ache. The exaggerated physical reaction completely destroys the studio audience.
And it cooks 24 hours. Well, you get a heartburn from that, boy. If you eat that in October, you can go a whole winter without an overcoat. I mean, you got heat. You got heat. Wherever I walk, the snow melted. I thought I was Moses and the Red Sea was melting.
That crazy food story easily warms up the crowd. Next, a dark real estate joke introduces his famous comedian friends.
I said, "How would you guys like to get in on some land I got?" So they said, "Terrific." I said, "Come on, I'll show you." I get him in a car, drive him to Cedar Grove Cemetery in Paramus. I said, "There it is. I think it's a big laugh. Them comedians, them dim down. They don't laugh at no other comedian, you know? They don't laugh. They say, look at me." Foster says, "Buddy, I think you blew your money. You bought in a dead neighborhood." Joey laughed like this. Okay? Now, I go to the cemetery, I knock on the door of the office, the door opens. I say to the guy, "I'd like to see cemetery plot number 130 to 115 inclusive." He says, "Who is the deceased?" I said, "Nobody died," and Joey's smiling. I said, "What's so funny, Joey?" He says, "Nothing. With my normal expression, he's liable to grab me." So I said, "Nobody died. I just want to take a look at my ground." He said, "Why?" I said, "Why? I want to see if there's good drainage." And Foster says, "Yeah, Buddy, even if he perspires a little, he breaks out with a rash on his blank blank."
Visiting a graveyard for fun creates wonderfully weird tension. Buddy's final absurd request delivers a flawless comedy masterclass.
I gotta do this.
Okay, so I said to the guy, "Okay, just put up a sign on my piece of ground. Coming."
His dark humor simply never misses the mark. Finally, a ruthless backstage prank creates an unforgettable live show disaster.
Is a guy with trained seals, you know, those guys. And he's got Richie, who was, they were suspect of him. You know, Richie, he was a Richie, you know. Mm-hmm. I'm Richie, fly me to Fire Island, you know, it was one of them. And his cockatoos, he had trained cockatoos. And he would take a pointer and point to the cockatoos. And the cockatoo would say, "Once upon a time," another cockatoo, "there was a prince and a princess lived in a castle." And it would do a whole story. So he wanted to get rid of these two acts. Because he used to come out with a cello and sit in a chair and play the cello, and he would tell jokes, and he was hilarious.
It's with Bill Demers.
Bill Demers, yeah. So first he gets rid of the seals by taking fish and rubbing it in the gelatins, see? And also, he would feed them before they did the show. See, seals only work when they're starving, and they give them a little fish. But he'd give them a lot of fish. He'd run in, the guy was out to lunch, he'd throw the fish into the seals, and the guy go, "Yum, ba, 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 hi-la, ho-ra," and the seal, "Brr." And he'd throw the ball to the seal go, "Arr." And then, or else he'd just rub the fish on the gelatins, and it'd start to heat up, and it'd smell from fish. The seal run right to the footlights and stick their nose in, and burn their noses, see? Now, what he did with the cockatoos would be in cages, and when the guy was away, he'd go in and he'd try to train them to say, instead of saying the story, he'd say to them, "Blank, blank." Blank, blank. The listening audience is at a disadvantage because I already told the studio audience what blank, blank means.
This incredibly patient sabotage plan builds massive audience anticipation. The bird's unexpected live response totally ruins the poor owner.
Richie come out and went to the first cockatoo and said, "Once upon a time, there was a prince and a princess. Blank, blank." And when that said blank, blank, go to full shot now. When it said blank, blank.
Buddy perfectly turns showbiz secrets into legendary jokes. This casual storytelling style truly defines classic American late-night television. 7. Buddy's parking ticket story creates an absolute studio storm. Buddy's creativity always pushes classic television boundaries. This legendary wordplay routine perfectly highlights his brilliant and rebellious comedic mind.
Puerto Rico, right?
No, that's the Puerto Rican routine.
Oh, that's the Puerto Rican
No,
routine.
this is the Filipino. When I was a kid working in the Catskills, this is true. Leo was a Filipino salad man. And he used to say F for P and P for F. I said, "How do you feel?" He said, "I feel bad today." I said, "Why?" "Well, Filipino, feel bad."
This innocent accent explanation builds wonderfully dangerous television suspense. The resulting fake profanity easily creates an unforgettable and chaotic moment.
"When have a bad day because I fogged the car by the fire flog." "What?" I said, "I fogged the car by the fire flog and the policeman give me a parking ticket." "What?" They said, "What?"
This incredibly smart censorship loophole remains a priceless entertainment legacy. That cheeky humor simply never loses its massive appeal. 8. Buddy's job hunting dog has an absolutely incredible talent. Buddy's vintage street jokes always deliver pure late-night magic. This first animal story perfectly proves his charming comedy style.
I'll tell you an animal story. A guy puts a sign in the window, wanted, someone who can type, someone who can run a computer and is bilingual. And a dog comes in, takes the sign, and puts it down. He said, "Don't tell me you're applying for the job." The dog goes, "Rick." I said, "Well, I guess you are. Can you type?" The dog just jumped up by the typewriter with his little paws. And the guy read, "Yes, I'm a dog, but I can type 75 words a minute. I bet there's not one mistake on this page." "You're right, there is." "That's terrific." "Can you work a computer?" Went up there, and he punched all the punch out, and there's everything about dogs on there. That's terrific.
This ridiculous animal setup easily hooks the entire room. The final language test delivers a completely silly punchline.
"Are you bilingual?" And the dog said, "Meow."
That clean innocence easily wins everyone over. Next, a classic cultural misunderstanding builds an incredibly clever historical joke.
That's a wonderful story. I've never heard that.
A Jew was talking to a Chinese doctor.
Okay.
No, it's nothing. It's okay. No.
All right. You're not switching the other Chinese doctor. Okay.
No, this is a different guy.
Okay.
This guy is out of a clean joke.
Got it.
All right. So he says to him, I never thought we would get along like this. The Chinese doctor said, well, why not? He said, well, you know, Pearl Harbor. What's Pearl Harbor? I'm Chinese, not Japanese. Well, all you Orientals are like. Well, the Jews sink a Titanic.
This ignorant cultural assumption sets up a perfect revenge. The doctor's historically wild comeback creates massive studio laughter.
Jews sank the Titanic? He says, yeah, sure. Greenberg, Goldberg, Iceberg, all the same to me.
His sharp, witty wordplay simply never gets old. These tight street jokes truly showcase his natural comedic genius. 9. Buddy's golf club bargain is absolutely bizarre. Buddy sitting with Roy Rogers creates incredible television magic. This first real-life story brilliantly tackles a classic social rejection.
Misses the calf and jumps onto a banker and writes out a loan.
So where did you do the skiing?
I was
in
Snowmass at Aspen.
Are you good at it?
I'm a pretty good skier.
Oh, I didn't know that.
My son Sandy, you know, he's a good skier, and Lisa and I.
This sad historical reality quickly turns into a funny moment. His brilliant mathematical compromise completely destroys the serious mood.
They started when they were 3 years old. Sandy was 4.
Yeah.
And he took me up. I'll tell you how high up he took me.
That quick wit easily charms the entire crowd. Next, a wild historical observation creates a fantastic visual joke.
There weren't too many famous Jewish cowboys.
No, because they're all shipping clerks in New York. And when they got to hog-tie the feet, hog-tie. When they got to tie the feet, they say, come here, Stanley, put your finger here.
Some rodeo that is, huh? Hold that, Stanley.
Imagine a guy.
This cultural joke builds an incredibly silly mental image. The final rodeo comparison delivers pure physical comedy gold.
Dives off a horse, misses the calf, and jumps onto a banker and writes out a loan.
The legendary cowboy sitting nearby makes this absolutely perfect. Finally, a messy marriage argument introduces his childish alter ego.
So now she opened up this closet, and sweaters, you know, looked like the sheep ran wild, and put the wool back where it was, you know? And she called me and she says to me, why? Why can't you keep your things neat? She now had them all straightened out. She says, why? They were so jumbled. Don't you know when you take out a sweater, put your hand and let it come out and let it drop, then when you fold it up and put it back on top. And I didn't know what to say. So I became a little boy, you know, like we all got a little boy in us. Do you have any?
Everybody, right?
And I said, I didn't do that.
This relatable husband panic feels wonderfully genuine. His ridiculous childish excuse easily saves him from a terrible fight.
I said, you know, remember that time there was that earthquake when I nearly got killed? That's what happened. That's what happened that time. So now...
Big man sneaked in.
So, yeah, bad man came and threw them all and tried to hate me. So now, she started to laugh, and now it's been now 3 weeks. I haven't gotten in trouble. Whatever she says, I start doing this little boy, which I call Pud.
Buddy flawlessly mixes vulnerability with incredible humor. This cultural clash perfectly defines the golden era of late-night talk shows. 10. Buddy's divorce math creates massive studio laughter. Buddy's classic joke structures are simply perfect for television. This first marriage story clearly highlights his incredible theatrical delivery.
She said, I understand that. What, I think I don't know arithmetic? He says, perhaps you could stay together a while longer and have another child, and then I can give 2 to one and 2 to the other. She says, all right, if he could take for another year, all right, me too. And he said, all right, if she wouldn't make such troubles, all right, I'll stay stick judge. We do you the favor. And if it didn't work, we wasted a year, and that's that. He says, just a minute, Your Honor. What'll happen? Instead of be born one, there'll be born two, twins, a twilling. It'll be the same thing, 2 with 3 and 3 with 2, and we're back where we started.
The judge's math idea creates a wonderfully awkward problem. The wife's brutally honest reaction easily destroys the entire room.
She says, look on him, that big twin maker. When I'll have to depend on him, I wouldn't have the first 3 neither.
That deep marriage humor simply never fails. Next, a classic bar encounter builds a fantastic physical comedy setup.
Then this one is the drunk.
Okay.
The guy walks in and he says, I have a drink. Have a drink, please. I want to have a drink for everybody. Have a drink. Bartender, have a drink. Have a drink. It'll be $63.15. I don't have no money. I don't have any money. But just see for a minute, he takes him outside and punches him and whacks him and hits him.
The classic bar setting always promises pure chaos. The drunk guy's completely ridiculous logic easily creates massive studio laughter.
Drinks for the house. None for you. When you drink, you get nasty.
Buddy brilliantly breathes life into classic street jokes. This effortless timing easily proves why he remains a comedy legend. Buddy's patient yet brutally hilarious storytelling is truly an art form that never gets old. Out of all the moments we just watched, which punchline was your absolute favorite? Let me know in the comments. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more nostalgic deep dives. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.